Hey friends, welcome to Hot News. Hope you're having a great day. I'm sure most of you have been following the news that's been dropping on the internet lately, so we've got a lot to talk about. But first, let's talk about today's video sponsor, which is FreshBooks. In case you want to support UFD Tech, you should definitely check out FreshBooks if you're looking for a professional accounting software that helps you to make invoices, get paid faster, set up your business in a way where you can track expenses effortlessly, seamlessly, on the go. And the best part is FreshBooks grows alongside your business so that you are never outpacing what the software is able to provide you. And so now you can go out to freshbooks.com/UFDtech and join the 24 million people who already use FreshBooks and get a 30-day free trial. No credit card required, no risk for trying it out. Go to freshbooks.com/UFDtech and enter UFD Tech in the How Did You Hear About Us section to get started on making your business run like a well-buttered machine, to make sure that you're tracking all of the things, especially now that tax day has come and gone. You don't want that debacle that you just experienced earlier in the week to happen next year. So start with FreshBooks now, today. And you know who should have started a long time ago? Good segue, Brett. Intel, my friends. We're talking about Intel's colossal failure because there has been rumors floating around. There's been some hint that there might have been something askew behind the scenes with Intel, and there's been reports that Apple was super unhappy with what Intel was doing, and Qualcomm was trying to drag them through court, and then Huawei was like, yo Apple, we got you with Intel's failures, we can send you 5G modems. Well, it turns out that as of yesterday, Intel is exiting the 5G smartphone game, and in case you're wondering, well, why is that a big deal? It's because the next generation of iPhones that were going to have 5G modems were going to be based on Intel modems. So the most prolific smartphones on the market have to find another 5G modem provider because Intel is unable to do it. They did express in their press release that they're not abandoning 5G altogether. They're still going to find ways to roll out 5G infrastructure, bring it to Ultrabooks and like more laptop scenarios. But as far as the smartphone market, they were completely incompetent and unable to do it. So they have to pull out as of now. And of course, in the press release, they're not actually admitting failure because of course, why would they? They're a massive corporation. They have to spin things for their shareholders. They say that they're excited about the opportunity in 5G and cloudification, just not so excited that they could actually develop 5G. And this, I mean, obviously kind of harkens back to the failures that they've been having with 10 nanometer CPU production. It seems like a lot of the things that Intel set in place several years ago to kind of come to fruition at this point are now resulting in debacles, missed deadlines, and contracts being broken and kind of disappointment. So Intel not able to provide anything for the next generation of iPhones, which leads us to the next little bit of story, which is, as that news is all breaking, it also breaks that Apple and Qualcomm have reached a settlement with regards to the lawsuits that have been going on between the two, with Qualcomm fighting Apple in every single court that they can possibly find because Qualcomm is indicating that Apple has infringed on some of its patents and that they need to pay up, and likely that they need to stop selling certain models of iPhones, which is what happened in certain courts in Germany. iPhones got banned, and that's on top of a $1 billion lawsuit that Apple filed against Qualcomm, and then there was a 1 billion won lawsuit in China, and then there was a whole bunch of lawsuits in several different places, and whenever one was finalized, they appealed it, and then they filed another one, and finally, after all of this time, and likely because Apple realized it has no other options, it cannot go with Intel for 5G modems, they settled the issues. The details of the settlement, the private settlement, are not made clear at this point, but it does include a 6-year trade agreement. It looks like Apple is going to be using Qualcomm's modems in the upcoming generation of iPhone because it freaking can't use Intel because Intel failed them. There was an official joint press release between the two where they said Qualcomm and Apple today announced an agreement to dismiss all litigation between the two companies worldwide, so everywhere. The settlement includes a payment from Apple to Qualcomm, not disclosed amount. The companies have also reached a 6-year license agreement effective as of April 1st, 2019, including a 2-year option to extend and multi-year chipset supply agreement. So Apple and Qualcomm working together because Apple couldn't say, hey, screw you guys, because we have Intel to provide of all of our needs and we'll fight you to the death. They can't fight Qualcomm to the death because they need Qualcomm to be around. So kind of humble pie that Apple needs to eat. Obviously, Intel's been eating the humble pie for several years with their difficulties and the loss of their CEO, and there's been a whole bunch of stuff behind the scenes that Intel hasn't been doing quite right. So it comes out that all of the rumors that have been out there that Apple was displeased with Intel are true, and both of the news pieces break in the same day. Intel fails, Apple and Qualcomm make up, and Apple is the loser in this entire situation, which I'm sure makes a lot of our audience happy. But that's not all of the Intel news that we have. Let's kind of stay on that little Intel train for a little while. They did a teaser of an Intel Z poster with a giant X with some E's in it, and they said, can you tell us what makes up this design? If you guys can tell me, let me know down in the comments, but Intel trying to push their graphics a bit more. Hopefully this doesn't fail like all of the other ventures have failed. Although it seems to be a separate division, they've hired in a lot of good talent to kind of make this work. So it should be fine. And then on top of that, we have an Intel announcement that they're going to be releasing the Optane H10 drives, which are actually their Optane storage solution, which helps to cache things faster if you have a hard drive. But then it's also going to include some SSD storage on it. So you get both the Optane module, which comes in 16 and 32 gigabyte varieties, as well as some SSD flavors to it, which comes in 256, 512, and 1 terabyte varieties. So you get faster caching thanks to the Intel 3D XPoint technology. And then on top of that, you actually get a storage drive to go in the M.2 slot. It makes a whole lot of sense for them to combine this. I'm actually kind of excited about this. We'll wait and see what it's actually going to look like once it hits retail shelves, but we'll keep you updated. And if we can get our hands on one, we'll do a video here on UFD Tech for you. And then we've got talks about Intel making its 3rd gen Optane DDR5 compatible. So these are the Optane DIMM sticks that they're talking about. And it's likely that DDR5 is probably going to roll out sometime in late 2020, early 2021, maybe mid 2021, just not this year, not next year, probably with the next generation of stuff. So DDR5 Optane compliant stuff, kind of cool. And then in the bit of news that broke yesterday that I saw literally everywhere and that we talked about in our Hot News Live segment, which we stream Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at twitch.tv/UFDisciple in case you want to get your news live before this video airs. It's like an interactive thing, you guys chat, you know, all of that kind of stuff. You can go over to twitch.tv/UFDisciple and catch us there when we do that. Anyways, there is an exclusive interview between Wired and Mark Cerny, who is one of the developers behind the PlayStation 5, talking about the next generation of consoles. So this is a confirmation of tons of leaks that have been coming out. This is an official person who's actually allowed to speak for the company, talking about all of the great different things that the PlayStation 5 or the next generation console is supposed to have. It's supposedly, it definitely is going to be running on a Navi based graphics card. It's definitely going to be running on a Zen 2 CPU, and it's going to support the next generation of PSVR. There's going to be ray tracing, and it's going to have 8K support. All of that is kind of cool, but the best thing about it is that it's going to have an SSD. Yes, my friends, loading times, no more. And in fact, they actually talked about how SSDs not only are going to affect loading times of games, but then it actually helps with rendering distances and rendering times in the game, so that when you're going to like place to place, things can load faster and it doesn't take you as long. Pretty cool. It would make things like God of War's ability to not have a single cutscene in the game be a little bit more I guess, achievable for certain developers, because they would have a faster drive to make use of that. Obviously, this goes really well with the previous episode of Hot News that we did, talking about the new leaked AMD Gonzalo APU, which had 8 cores at 1.6 gigahertz base, 3.2 gigahertz boost, and then the Navi GPU, which was running at 1.8 gigahertz. This all kind of lines up with that, so that like AMD Gonzalo thing seems to be more legitimate. It's definitely not coming out in 2019. It will be hitting shelves in 2020. So that's going to be pretty good. But then there's also this little paste bin leak that happened several months back in December, which actually kind of already confirms all of this from somebody who says that they're a third-party small developer, saying that there would be a small reveal in Q2 of 2019. Hey, that already happened, and that there would be some official information around E3, and then the PS5 would release March or November of 2020. It's going to be completely backwards compatible. That was also in the interview, and has physical games in PS Store, PS Plus, and PS Plus Premium, 7nm 8-core 16-thread Ryzen 2 CPU, or Ryzen 3000 CPU, and 7nm Navi architecture, around 14 teraflops. The teraflop portion was not confirmed in the interview, but the Navi part was, saying it's going to have 24 gigabytes of GDDR6 and 4 gigabytes of DDR4. Yeah, some of it's wrong, like the 2 terabyte hard drive with some sort of NAND flash. They confirmed that it's an SSD, although they could be talking in marketing speak, and it's actually going to be an SSHD, which has like kind of like the Optane thing, where it has like really fast cache for the most frequently played stuff, and then it actually has the extra bit for the storage portion. Anyways, the reason this is interesting is because this was leaked in December, and it seems to have had a pretty decent track record as to getting most of it right. Obviously, we're not going to look at it and say that's gospel, but it's pretty intriguing, especially with some of the things that remain yet to be announced about the PlayStation 5. But not to be content to let Sony have all of the spotlight yesterday, Microsoft came out and announced their brand new console, the Xbox One S Discless edition, at the ridiculously high price of $250. It's only $30 off the disc version, which I mean is a cost savings, but I mean, like, you can get the One S on sale for $250 sometimes. So like the $250, it's not that great of a price to lose the 4K Blu-ray player. I'm not sure I understand this. There are several articles out there just being like, what's this price? Why $249 is an unsustainable price for the first all digital Xbox? I don't get it. I think it needs to be closer to $200 if I was gonna be keen on picking one up. But not just the new Xbox, Microsoft also announced the Game Pass Ultimate, which combines like their games with gold, or live service with the gold games, and it basically conglomerates them into one thing. It's the same price as if you had both services separately, so it's not anything new. It's just a more concise way of actually having both of the things. Good way of breaking that down, Brett. Speaking of breakdown stuff though, so Kaspersky has come out with a breakdown of the different platforms that are receiving some hacking attacks, and it looks like apparently the biggest piece of software that's attacked by hackers is Microsoft Office, coming in at a good 70% of the pie when it comes to attacks against them, and everything else is kind of really tiny. That's crazy. It's gone from 16% in 2016 Q4 to 70% in Q4 2018. Obviously, a lot of people do use Microsoft Office. They store some fundamental data there, so if it can get compromised, it could actually be a pretty big leak for whoever does it. So it's cool. And then let's talk about something that we covered over on our Hot News channel yesterday. In case you weren't aware, we dropped some exclusive stuff, some timed exclusive stuff, and things that we just don't have time for here on the main video. You can check it out and subscribe right up there. Anyways, this is MSI betraying AMD's promise to keep AM4 socket compatibility, with one person contacting MSI support, asking them if their X370 X-Power Gaming Titanium would be able to support the upcoming Ryzen 3000 CPUs. The customer support said no, only X470 and B450 boards can do that. And the dude posted it to Reddit, everybody freaked out, and it definitely seemed like MSI was going to say, hey, we don't support what AMD has said. We're not going to do backwards compatibility here. And there could be legitimate reasons. There are some motherboards that can't support new CPUs because their BIOS chip is too small, so that's a possibility. But after the whirlwind of attacks and disparaging against MSI came out, they released a press release talking about clarification, just being like, yeah, that customer support person didn't know what they were talking about. The X370 X-Power Titanium will support Ryzen 3000. They unveiled a list of motherboards that will support the upcoming Zen 2 CPUs. So in case you're interested, you can check that out. But at least good warning to MSI as well as other companies out there. Train your customer support staff to say, I don't know, if like they're giving out the wrong information, because this made you look bad. And I appreciate the clarification with the press release, but at the same time, not a situation should have happened in the first place if you actually train your people. You know what I don't get though? YouTube sometimes, because we're YouTubers' algorithm. It's a crazy thing, but in YouTube's effort to kind of combat conspiracy theories, they have been listing cards at the bottom of conspiracy theory videos to give official, I'm saying official because conspiracy theorists would agree that the official account's not the real one. Anyways, the official reports of certain conspiracy theories, such as whenever whenever you're talking about Sandy Hook, for example, the most egregious example. If somebody's making an anti-Sandy Hook or false flag video, an article links there would be for an official account so that people at least have the option to learn about the official report when they're on the rabbit trail down the YouTube dark hole of conspiracy theory videos that I've traveled many a times. Anyways, the reason this is relevant is because with regards to the Notre Dame fires, or Notre Dame, depending on how you want to say it, they were linking it to the September 11th terrorist attacks and flagging the Notre Dame fire videos as September 11th terrorist attack conspiracy theory videos and giving people a link to the Encyclopedia Britannica account of the September 11th attacks. Algorithm stuff. It's just like, I don't blame YouTube for this whatsoever. That is clearly a robot problem. It obviously should not be happening for such an event like that, but at the same time, when things are on a mass scale like this, you just gotta continue to learn and train your machines, my friends. And then let's go ahead and let you know that there are spoilers out on the internet for Avengers Endgame on Reddit, YouTube, Twitter, wherever you want to find it. It's spoiling some of the story. It's not obviously the entire movie just yet, but some key plot points are being revealed. As somebody who is okay with knowing spoilers, this doesn't bother me too much because like the enjoyment of the movie is what I get enjoyment out of, not necessarily. Like I know how Endgame's gonna end. The good guys are gonna win. Thanos will be defeated. A couple of people are gonna die in the process. It's gonna be really heartbreaking. They might not be able to get everybody back who went bye-bye, but it's gonna be the good guys win. Like that's how it has to end. Obviously, Infinity War is just a cliffhanger halfway through the movie. If you look at Avengers as like a 5.5 hour long movie, you can see there's an inevitable conclusion of the Avengers winning. So like, I know that's how the Marvel formula is. It's the actual process of getting there that's exciting, not the actual details. So whatever, I don't care about spoilers, but in case some of you do, don't click on the links, okay? Anyways, you know what link you should click on? Our sponsor for today's video, FreshBooks, freshbooks.com/UFD Tech, because that's the end of hot news. So be sure to check out our sponsor. Be sure to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Check out our Twitch channel where we do hot news live, as well as 2 new podcasts that we've launched. Random Access, which is where we're going to be interviewing content creators from around the globe. We're starting locally with people in South Africa to just kind of get a feel for the local content creation scene, but we'll be moving out into other creators sometime soon. And then we have High Bandwidth, which is more of our I guess hot news related podcast where we talk about the events of the week and kind of go into more depth on those. So you can check all of that in the video description. And then also don't forget that I love you. I have no idea. Bye.